Hi everybody, this is Czapnik from the Jewish Learning Exchange. I hope you and yours are well. Our hearts and thoughts and prayers are for the Jews in Israel and in Gaza and around the globe. So today we're going to talk about prayer. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Toldos, and the Parsha begins with Yitzchak and Rivka praying fervently to have a child. And they prayed for 20 years. They were very persistent. And the power of prayer and the need for prayer, especially now, it's not so surprising. We look at the world and we definitely need prayers for the soldiers to be protected, for the hostages to come home, for those that are injured should be healed, for the families of the hostages and the injured and those that were killed to have strength and comfort. So let's talk a little bit about prayer. It's a fascinating story about in Yiddish the term is a poritz, the landowner in a town in Eastern Europe pre-World War II. The town was called Karlin. And this non-Jewish landowner was very wealthy, and his servants had to serve all of his whims and fancies. And one day in the middle of the summer he says, "I want to go skiing." And they said, Sire, there's no snow now. It's summer. It says, "I don't care. I want to go skiing. Figure something out." Well, they went and bought pounds and pounds of sugar and put it on a slope, and he went sledding down the slope. And this caused, of course, a big ruckus in town. Everyone was like, "Wow, look at what he did." And the great tzaddik, Rabbi Karlina, the great holy Jew, when he was told about this, said, "That's his idea of pleasure? This doesn't compare to when a Jew, the joy and ecstasy of a Jew saying the Nishmas prayer Shabbos morning. That's pleasure." The Nishmas prayer is a very beautiful prayer. It's found on page 400 of your handy art scroll. It begins with the words, "Nishmas kol chai tevarech Hashemcha Hashem Elokeinu." The soul of every living being shall bless your name, Hashem, our God. And I'll just quote just one of the beautiful lines here. There are many. "Were our mouth as full of song as the sea, our tongue as full of joyous song as the multitude of waves, our lips as full of praise as the breath of the heavens, our eyes as brilliant as the sun and the moon, and our hands as outspread as eagles of the sky, and our feet as swift as hinds, we still could not thank you sufficiently, Hashem our God, the God of our forefathers." So a very beautiful prayer. And so Rabbi Aaron Kalina said, that's what joy is about. That's real joy. So what's the joy? Why is he saying that this is joy? And the answer is quite simple. We have an open communication with God. No appointment needed. No, he's out of town. He's always available, anytime, in any language, and anywhere. And that's a beautiful thing, that God allows us to communicate with him, lowly humans, with the omnipotent and glorious God, that we can communicate with him. There's a sweet story about a little boy in southern Israel. And when he heard the terrorists were coming, he went into the safe room with food and water, and the reporter asked him, why weren't that scared? He said, "Well, I have faith." "What'd you do in the room?" "I prayed." There's a poem that I wrote many years ago that I'd like to read to you. The name of it is called "The Gift of Prayer." Open your heart, open your mind, open the prayer book. Open communication with the Almighty using the prayer book and your own words. Express your pain and hope, your anger and aspirations, your disappointment and relief, in the words that have traveled the globe through feast and famine, sadness and joy, birth and death, exile and redemption. Feel the gift of prayer. So we're blessed that God gives us this opportunity. Angels don't have this They have their assigned days where they pray, but humans can pray anywhere, at any time, in any language. And I'd like to conclude with an interesting story. There was a woman in a nursing home, and one day her religious family gets a call that unfortunately she passed away. And they went and they gave her proper Jewish burial, and they were sitting in Shiva, mourning for her. And in the middle of sitting the 7 days of mourning, they get a call from the mother. How come you're not visiting me? And they're shocked. What? You're okay? Everything's well? Yes, I'm in the nursing home. And they go running, and they find out that there was another patient with a similar last name that had passed away. And the nursing home made a mistake, and they called the wrong family. And they buried the wrong person. And they were so excited and so happy to see her, and they, you can imagine the joy that they had. And now the nursing home was in a real pickle, because they had to call the other family to let them know the mother had died and had been buried already. And they called the other family, and the son answers the phone. He says, I knew it. I knew she would win. I knew she would win. What are you talking about? My mother was traditional, and she wanted to have a proper Jewish burial. And I said, I'm not going to waste money on that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to cremate you. And she begged and said, please don't cremate me. No matter what you do, don't cremate me. I said, nah, Mom, I'm sorry. We're going to do what we're going to do, and you're not going to be there to say anything about it. And she prayed that she should have a proper Jewish burial. And her prayers were answered, and that's it. So, through divine providence, her prayers were answered, and she had a proper Jewish burial. And with that, we should have a wonderful Shabbos and use the power of prayer to connect to God and pray not only for ourselves, but for the entire Jewish people and for the situation around the globe. Have a wonderful Shabbos. All the best.